welcome to fmtraining.tv. We are now a 2-award-winning stream. So welcome everyone. Thank you everyone for coming. We greatly appreciate having you all watching us on the stream and all that fun jazz. My name is Margaret. I'll be your broadcast engineer for today. The last week we basically got announced we won one of the the FileMaker Education Award, which is really awesome. Seriously, I've said it before, but I'll say it again. Thank you so much, everyone. This is all possible with you. Otherwise, I'd just be streaming to an empty room with no feedback, which is basically the same as chatting to a wall. So, we greatly appreciate everyone coming, everyone seeing this, and all that jazz. So, real quick, let's talk about our live stream training schedule. We're doing functions. I think this will be the last couple days of functions, if I have to take a guess. Today we are here with Calvin Moseman. Calvin is a senior engineer at RCC who many of you have seen before. He's an absolutely fantastic trainer and presenter. We're always glad to have him on the show. Thursday will be FileMaker calculation performance on a millisecond matter with Hansa Kuldeka. Hansa is on a mission to get the calculation engine to run faster, which we are happy to support him in. Friday will be a guide to Claris FileMaker licensing. There are some licensing changes coming out that were announced at DevCon, but also licensing in general with Claris is a little difficult. So we like to cover it with people because people tend to have a lot of questions about what's possible, what they should pick up. If you'd like to support the channel, other than being here and existing, which is support, let's talk about the FM Training annual subscription bundles. These are 3 options. This one comes with FileMaker. These 2 have varying amounts of videos. There is a list somewhere on this website. I forget exactly where off the top of my head. The point is, there's a lot of videos here. We pretty much cover every topic: server, WebDirect, Go, everything underneath the sun in Pro. Every once in a while, I get people who pop up and go like, hey, I like your live streams. The live streams are cool, cover a lot of stuff. I just had this happen the other day. But this format doesn't really work for me. It's an hour-long format. There's a lot of interaction happening, so it's easy for presenters to wander off topic for a bit and then before going back on topic. Which is what we prize about the live stream, because it's interacting with the community, but for some people it's not the best way to learn a topic. So this is what these are for. The FM Training annual subscription bundles are a really great way. They're like, videos can be as short as like 2 minutes to as long as about 30, and they talk about all sorts of topics. It's all highly animated. It's all Richard. If anyone knows Richard, that Richard is generally not boring to watch. I believe Calvin, J. Ray, Nick, and Jacob. There we go. He's an engineer. He's more. Anyway, they're all in here and they all talk about a variety of subjects. If you have bought it already, thank you very much. Helps keeps the lights running, as Richard would say. Otherwise, we're doing functions today. I believe we're doing text formatting functions, which Calvin might be building the sample file for us a bit live as he goes along and explains things. And then if we have extra time, we'll cover some interesting get function stuff. So, Calvin, you there?
Good afternoon. I'm excited to look at these text formatting functions. And this is in like a sample file that we'll be sending out to you afterward.
Yes.
And we're going to be playing around with this today.
Cool.
So let me go ahead and share my screen.
There we go.
You can see that okay. So I'll just kind of walk you through what this app does, and then we can start playing around with these functions. So here is a list of our 9 text formatting functions, and you can find more about those in the help. And here's a list of all 9 of those. So we have each of them listed here, and then we've got this a help button that links straight to TextSize. You can look at the help on that and look into more details on that. And we're just going to go one by one through these and kind of mess around with what they can do. And through this, we're going to be using a new feature called the layout calculation. And I'm excited to be using that. So you will need the latest version of FileMaker for this to work once you get it. So let's go ahead and dive in. So first of all, I've got this field with the global text that we're going to be using throughout this. And let's go ahead and look at this real quick. So here is our info fields, and then these are our test fields where we're going to be testing them. And then over here is what are called layout calculations. If you haven't used these before, if you go to Insert and select Layout Calculation, it gives you the regular calculation area to set up. and you can put some kind of calculation in here. And maybe I'll just do a list for now and start with that text. And I'll say okay. And now it inserts that calculation as text right in the layout. And as of the latest version of FileMaker 20, this when we have this F colon in your between these carets, then it will evaluate that as a calculation. And if you want to change that calculation, you can right click and go edit layout calculation and make adjustments to it. So it's pretty cool. So let's look at this first one. So the first option here is RGB. So we're getting the red, green, blue value. And we'll notice here that it has three inputs. You put a green value, a red value, and a blue value. And then it gives us an integer between 0 and 16777.215. And that is, we can use this in combination with other things, or we can feed this to other apps to give us different text colors. So if we see here, we have in our test area, let me just move these off. Here is our calculation. We're calling the function RGB, and then we're pointing it to our global red. Let's see. We're pointing it to our global red, green, and blue fields here, so that you'll see that that's what is going in here. Let's go ahead and go to browse mode. And so by changing these values here, just put everything as 0. And this should refresh. Maybe I need to put I'm just going to quickly put this is not the way you would want to do this. But I am, for the sake of making this fast, I'm just going to say refresh window. It'd be better to say refresh object and specify, but since I want all the objects to refresh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to do that. So now it's 0. And so if we add some numbers in here, our red, green, and blue values, and refresh, then we get that number. So what does that number mean? To us, it doesn't really mean too much. But what you can do is use this in conjunction with the next text variable, which is the text color. So in this case, you pass it the text color, and then you pass it that this number value that tells it what color to do, and it changes the font color for that text that you fed to it.
Okay, so wait, the RGB function doesn't actually change any color?
No, it just so let's go ahead and take a look at that. So it says it returns an integer. It actually just gives you a number. It doesn't.
Oh, okay, so it doesn't actually the color for anything.
It doesn't actually change any. It doesn't give any colors or change any formatting. It gives you a number that you can then use to change the formatting. So it just returns a number.
Got it. That makes sense.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and let's just duplicate this. And so maybe you want to know what that color is. I'm going to right click, edit layout calculation. And now we're going to say, what was the next? If you want to follow along, you can go over here to your filters and select text formatting functions. That's what we're looking at. So the next one we want to say is text color. And what I'm going to do is just take that calculation we're just working on and drop it into here. And then our text is going to be the same thing. So we will get this will generate the number that is the RGB value. And then this one will apply the color to that number.
Oh, okay.
So we're using the two on top of each other. Now that's a really ugly color. Let's try something else. Okay, now we got a nice red. So there's a red there. So the RGB is giving us the value. And let me just change this one so we can see what it's doing. This one's getting us the text color. And for some reason, this is
why does it keep realigning? Is that like
I
Bug?
think I might need to, like, I don't know. Might need to do something with that. That seems problematic. But I don't feel like restarting my computer right now.
That's valid.
Okay. So this time what we'll do is we're going to take that our global text field and just insert it in there. Oh, that's so, and I'm so used to doing this a little differently. I'm going to go to edit calculation. Now let's get our global text. The layout calculations are so new, I haven't even really used them in any production files because I'm not sure that everybody's on FileMaker 2023. I still have some people using FileMaker 19, and I'm not quite sure that I'm ready for that.
That's
okay.
valid.
So so we see we're applying color and to regular text, we're generating this number from the RGB value. So those are two functions that work in conjunction with each other to generate that RGB value, or to generate that text color. Now, let's say that we've got some text, a text color to remove. Now, this is interesting because so I'm going to highlight this and I'm going to put some color on it. Now, this isn't using a function. This is just right-clicking in a text field and applying a color to this text. Now, the question is, which will take precedent, the function color or the text color that we apply to it? Does anyone want to guess on that?
I'll guess function, but I don't know what anyone else wants to say because I have no idea. People, do you think that the color select or the function will take precedence?
Do we have any guesses?
David is typing.
Well, wait 1 second.
He wants to restate the question.
Restate the question. So if we apply text color to the text itself, and then we call that text in a function, in a text color function, which one will take precedent? The color that we apply to the text itself or the color that we apply through the function?
Ed Burkle thinks function, Topcat thinks function, Mike thinks function.
We're pretty unanimous on function. So let's go, let's select refresh window and it's the function. And just to make sure that this actually is applying, I'm going to now make it bold and you'll see that it went bold.
Oh, okay, interesting. So that isn't affected by the color, which makes sense. I guess it's just color.
Yeah.
So NJ says, actually, NJ has an interesting comment. Function, I guess, unless there is conditional formatting.
So that's a good question. What takes precedent over that? Conditional formatting?
Yeah,
let's try it. So I'm going to say the formula is 1. So this just happened. This will happen. And let's change it to green. We're using all the colors today. And yeah, so the function took precedent over conditional formatting.
But the green changed the text of the
That's because there was the text color. This is just a label.
Got it. Okay.
So it's not, and this is the value from the field.
Got it. Okay.
So we're not the conditional formatting is applied to the entire text object, but which includes the calculation. The calculation, though, is applying another color.
Got it.
Great. So all of this we are going toward to select the text color remove. So let's go ahead and try this. So text color, and I'm going to say remove. And I'm wondering if it's because this is a calculation. Maybe that's having some effect on it.
I would assume so, because I can't imagine why else it would keep trying to fly away.
Yeah. Okay, so once again, it's we're giving it the text and we're giving it the RGB value. And let me remove the conditional formatting. Conditional formatting, delete. We don't want conditional formatting on this at this time. Okay, so here, so we have text format remove. So you'll notice that this is, now we removed the color and we specified the text color as this number right here to remove that color. So it removed only the red. It went but left us with this blue. So if I change this text color, I'm going to just change half of this to black. Refresh window, and we'll see that the text color is removed from here. Now it's defaulting to what the object color now. You'll notice that this is black because this is the format of this text field, but there's no color associated with the text itself. So here it's defaulting to that gray that is the text object color. And we're only removing the red color, we're not removing the blue color. So it's interesting here that we can remove multiple colors and say somebody marked up a field or a note field with a bunch of text to highlight things. We can go in and remove that text formatting, but only the ones, maybe we want to leave the certain colors, maybe the blue, but we want the red that was marking errors to be removed. So it's just another option there. Okay, so let's look at font. So the next thing is text font remove. Now, actually, let's do the, I thought we had, did I not get everything? Text font.
There is a text font right there above text font remove.
Oh, did I skip one?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to add a new one. And text. And go ahead to text font. I must have skipped this one. You'll see the how this is put together here. So here, let's go ahead and okay. So so here's text font, and unfortunately this isn't the order that I wanted it in, but let's go ahead. So we've got and I don't have a global font field, so let me just duplicate this and say font.
I think I see.
Yeah.
It's right below global blue.
Right there, yeah. Okay, here we go. Here's a font.
There you go.
So let's go ahead and we'll duplicate this again and edit calculation. We'll call this one, what was the name of that? Text font. And we want the font, the text and the font name. So let's go ahead and switch this to font, and that'd be this font name. Okay. And let's go ahead and try that out. Also, we want this to be font. Okay, we have the font on there. Back over and back to browse mode. So let's go ahead and put a font on here. Let's try Times. Fresh window. So you'll notice that it left the formatting that we have there and switched to the font of Times. See, Times New Roman. I don't know that I can see the difference between that. How about Chicago?
I didn't realize those were two different. I didn't realize that was two different fonts. Huh?
I'm not sure. Maybe Chicago's not a font. Let's go ahead and add a font here. So we'll go to Format and Fonts. Yeah, Times New Roman right there. Let's go Courier New. Did I not select that format? Font. Regular, there we go. Courier New. So we applied this, and let's go refresh. Now you'll notice that we have, let me put that font in Courier New. I don't think I did that quite right. Courier new, that looks good. Okay, there we go. So we'll see that we've got one font here, and we can change this. Once again, we're changing it in the text field itself. And then we can see that this is also the formatting that we have applied to it. Courier new is taking precedent and being assigned that. So let's, do we have any questions
Let's say
about
we do
any of
have two
this?
questions.
Yeah.
Could you format text for variables?
Format text for variables, like in your script?
Or like, are you talking about variable results where you want it to come out a specific format?
Yeah, so you can do these in, if you can say the variable itself, it won't appear to be a formatted. So if we go to the data viewer and we look at something here, let's go ahead and use a format. And this is one of my formatting functions. So let's say we do the text font, and we're going to do our test and then our font here and say evaluate. This is a test. Now you'll notice that that isn't the font that we specified over here. And the courier new. But the formatting doesn't actually appear in the data viewer. But if we do have a set script, if we do have, let's create a new script here and say set field, and we're going to specify the global text and tell it to set that field with we're setting the field that we're calling, but we're just applying a font to it. So let's go ahead, and what I'm going to do, and if you want to remove formatting, this is really helpful if you do a lot of copy and paste from emails and such. If you paste into a field, and then before you do anything else, select Command Z or Control Z, it will remove the text formatting. So I use that feature all the time. And you'll notice the color formatting went away from here. Now, let's run the script and see what happens to this text field. What it should do is apply this global font to that field. And so what we got here, you'll notice that changed, and it was called by this. But that was actually, I apologize, that wasn't this question. It was, can we do a variable? I'm going to say set variable. We're going to say text. Let me just copy this result over here. And we're going to go text and paste that in, save. So, and now here I'm going to remove that formatting. And now watch, when I select this, we will actually, let's debug this and look at the data viewer. Now, if we look at what the current items here, we'll see we have this variable text, and you don't see the formatting here. But watch what happens when we do the next step. The variable did hold the formatting, and the formatting was applied when we set the field. Does that answer the question?
David, let me know if that answers the question. They are typing. Okay.
Perfect.
I asked what about global variables?
Global variable? Well, so if we do this in a global variable, and I'm just going to press play there. You can look at the data viewer, and you'll see that the global variable is there, and I don't see any formatting. But let's make a new script, and let me just remove the formatting real quick so we can see this happen. Here's I'm just duplicating this, and instead of referencing the local variable, I'm going to reference the global variable. And I'm even going to remove these set variables so we can just see that we're grabbing what was saved in the data viewer. So let's look at the data viewer. You don't see the formatting, but when I run this script, watch what happens. There's our field, run. It pulled the formatting saved in that global variable. You just don't see it in the data viewer. So yeah, variables can hold formatting. Let me know if that answers the question.
There you go, David. Let us know if that answers the question. There's one more question before we can continue. The insert calculation only display or change the format of the text field? David is asking if the calculation is the one changing the text field when it's the layout calculation, I think.
Oh, yes.
Or is it changing the format of the text field? So is it changing the text field directly, or is it just on the...
Yeah, so it's only changing it within the object itself, within the calculated layout object. And that's just, I thought this would be a faster way to show how this is working, as opposed to writing a script for each of these and pressing play every time you want to see a change. So we can kind of look here and see what each of these steps is doing to the same text. That was just the way I wanted to go about it. But these calculations that we're putting right into the layout are calculations you could copy and paste into a script, or just write initially in a script and run and change the formatting. And so that's an option. Any other questions?
I don't know. Let me know if I interpreted your question correctly. Got it. That way, if I don't want it to be applied to the text field, I can insert a calculation.
That way, if you don't want it to be applied to the text
field. So if he doesn't want it to be applied to the field directly, he can have a calculation do it elsewhere. Yes.
Yeah. So I use, a lot of times when I use the formatting, I'm not doing it you could do it in a calculation field. You could do it in a script. You can do it in a layout object. I prefer doing them in layout objects and button bars, because then I'm not storing it, and it keeps the data cleaner, I think. So let's go ahead and edit this. And the next one we're doing is the font text font size. Text size. And we're going to do the same one, and we're going to select that. Okay. And so let's go ahead and first put this down here. Very nice. Okay, so here we've got the font size, and let's just specify, we're going to go 8. Oh, that updated right away.
That's
you see that
extremely tiny.
For 12, I think that might be just a shade smaller than what we were doing before. 16.
What happens if you go like massive? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, it's just too big. It goes out of the space.
So it's limited to the size of the actual calculation. So the layout calculation size.
Cool. Right, but if you use this in a field, you can, instead of going through this process here and selecting the size 72 points, here it's saving. If you did it in a script and saved it in that field for whatever reason, you would be able to get that. So let's go ahead and switch that back. But so we got this text size remove. Text size. So let's look at the next one, text size remove. We'll go edit layout calculation, text size remove. And just like the other one, and I'm just going to have it reference the same size. Or no, let's change that to size global size to remove. I'm going to, so here, what I want to do is show how we remove a size. So say we have let's do a few different sizes. We're going to start with a larger size. So size, we're going to say, let's make it go bigger and bigger. This next size is going to be 10. The next one's 12, and then the final one is going to be 18. So it's kind of getting bigger as it goes. Do you see that? So we can specify a size to remove. So let's say we just want to remove size 8. And so you'll notice down here, the 8 size went back to normal. And then we want to change it to 10. So now this one's back to 8 is back to normal, and the next one was reverted. Say 18, then it's just doing that last. So very similar to the text color remove and such. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put that back.
Interesting.
Any questions about sizes, adding or removing?
Kind of a question related. I'm curious about the text formatting trick that you do. Do you Control Z to undo, or do you paste and then Control Z to remove if you put in something with extra formatting? So
yeah, so if you put it in, so here it's extra formatting. Control Command X to remove, Control V to paste, Control Z to remove formatting. Now, if there is no formatting, so Control V to paste. Now, there's no formatting in this text, so when I hit Control or Command Z, it just removes the text.
got it. There you go. So it has to remove the formatting first before it actually undoes the paste.
Yeah. Now, this is interesting. If you would make it bold, I'll remove it. Now paste it. Command Z removes the formatting. Command Z again removes the text. So it's almost like it thinks that you pasted in the text and then you pasted in the formatting, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any other questions there?
I don't see any at the moment. So
okay. Well, let's go to this text styles. And I'm going to open up the help over here so we can see these. I didn't actually, so I'm just going to copy these to make this a little easier.
those are a lot of options.
Yeah, there's a lot of options. And let's go ahead and add a new value list. Drop down list. We'll give it this new value list and we'll call this one styles. And so here's all the styles that we can add. Oops, cancel. And so here now we'll see we've got styles that we can apply to the field. So let's go ahead, or the text. In this case, the calculation. So I'm going to call this one text. Style add. Edit a calculation. So text style add. And here, let's go ahead and grab the styles to add. Move this back over here. Okay, so we don't have any styles selected, but let's do plain. Oh, that's not going to change anything. Let's do bold. Refresh. Ooh, that didn't change anything. Let's try that again. Try something else. Okay, so that's not working. Let's see what's going on. Let's edit layout calculation.
Or debugging, rather.
Right. Global styles. Global text. I don't see why this wouldn't work.
Where text and then styles.
Right.
I am confused.
Yeah. As a specified style to a text in a single action. Maybe these don't all work with the layout calculation. Let's try something else. Let's try a new script. And we're going to say set field. And we're going to specify that global text. We're going to say text style add. specifier global text, and specifier style. Okay, and let's see if that worked. That didn't work either. Let's go ahead and now it's hard to debug some of these things because obviously in the data viewer right here,
can't really tell you what's happening because it's a
yeah, it's not it's okay, we do see that. Now maybe we'll do sometimes, but I'll do a list of all the things that I'm inputting just to make sure that we have it. Yeah, evaluate. So here you'll see we are getting italic. We are getting this as a test. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is just type it right in there. See if that makes a difference. Edit calculation, and I'm just going to say italic. And still didn't apply. What am I missing?
You can add multiple styles by using the plus between style names.
Oh, you know what? Something interesting here.
Mm-hmm.
I copied this right from the website, so I'm wondering if it captured
Added
some
extra
other
space.
extra characters or something in there. I just pasted that in and it didn't do anything. Interesting.
Someone
Oh,
said,
okay. So yeah, go ahead.
FM text and number field does not only store the text, also formatting.
Oh, let's try this. Edit layout calculation. I'm going to remove these quotes. There, that was the problem.
Oh,
so that's
okay.
interesting. So
So does it not like the value list? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, that's interesting. So this is interesting that so I'm trying to enter the value from a field, but it actually wants it just to be brought in. So you'll notice here I'm quoting, or I'm specifying the global styles, which would be kind of the same as putting a quote in there. And so I didn't want the quote. And you'll notice in the examples that we'll see we've got text style add, and here's our text that we're wanting to add the style to, but then the style itself is not quoted. So the calculation engine recognizes that as a value apart from the fields and apart from the apart from almost like a function. So I'm not going to try to make this work, but you can see how specifying the italics in the field made that apply. Now let's go ahead and we'll add some, make this bold here. And let's try the text style to remove. And I'm just going to duplicate this again. Text style, remove. And in this case, since I'm just going to change this to bold. And we're going to go ahead and change this, remove. So now we're removing that text style, browse. And so so what did I tell it to remove? Did I tell it to remove bold or italics?
I'm confused. You told it to remove italics and it removed the italics, but you didn't tell it to remove the italics.
Yeah. So
you
I'm telling it to remove the bold
to show that it wouldn't remove the bold. It didn't remove the bold, but it did remove the italics that you didn't ask it to remove.
Yeah, well, it's not going to be italic because it's referencing this.
Oh, okay.
Now it's going to be oh, you know, I probably just no.
But that still won't change anything because we need to remove the text.
Interesting.
Style.
Yeah, so we see we have italics here, and I think this is still italic.
Yeah, because
let's try something that'd be a little more obvious that it's italic. Let's go with font
I think it can only remove the
Um,
italics that you apply via the text style add, right?
what's that?
It can
Oh,
only
text.
remove the italics that you applied via the text style add, right? So it can't remove any other italics, like any formatting you put on the field.
Um, it's only going to remove it the from the calculation part of it. Let's try typing. Say italic. Oh, italic. It's hard to tell here. Oops, cancel. Oops. Well, that didn't do. Yeah, that was a problem. Let's remove the formatting real quick. So now we're back to plain text, and you can see this is plain. I guess I told it to remove being italic though. So make this italics, and you see that italics did apply. Oops, cancel. Edit calculation. Interesting. So I'm not sure. This isn't behaving quite the way that I would expect. But anyway.
Because we got time, so I'd be curious to talk about it real fast. So I think it's because it's like the blue and the red stuff, right? Since you applied the blue directly in the field, it couldn't touch the blue when you did text color remove. And since you applied the italics directly in the field, it couldn't touch it because you didn't add it with the text style add.
No, it should be able to remove it anyway.
Really? Okay, so
I
that's
would
okay. In that
think,
case,
because if you
that's a
put
difference in
blue and
behavior.
you say it should override that. That's an interesting point, though, saying that, okay, it doesn't apply because it's a calculation. Let's just look at this real quick. Text style. Oh, I want the text style removed. Let's look at this. Removes the specified text style in a single action. Text style remove styles. Any name style, the expression. You can remove multiple styles by using the plus operator. Negative values are not valid. All styles has been provided to make it easy to remove all styles. I'm curious, if I copy this, highlight yellow, if I go to text style add and edit this and go highlight yellow, what does that do? Oh, that's interesting. So you can highlight with this as well. I don't think I saw that as an option in here though. Oh, there it is.
It is. There
Yellow.
it is. Condense, extend. I don't even know. I don't even know what some of those mean. I don't think I've ever seen superscript. But yeah, because I was just thinking.
Well, it's like a subscript, but instead of sub, it's instead of being below, like a
Instead of
subscript,
a little below, it's above. Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So superscript, see what that looks like. Let's do 2.
I think you said you have to add the plus sign.
Plus, yeah. Plus superscript. So there, it's really tiny.
It's like an exponent.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, so a whole bunch of different options. Now, how is this practical? If you look at FM starting point, the logs actually use a bunch of text formatting so that errors will pop out a little more and you can read them a little faster and your eyes are directed to the colors that you want to see in the logs. That's one way of using it. Another way is just using these. So we have this option here in the format to select different sizes and different options. In FM starting point, we also have the option there's some built-in options. So instead of using the menu, you can use buttons in the field to format, say, an email. And so in the contacts module. So that's another way to use it. I use it a lot with the, what is it called? Button bars. If you want to have a label with 2 different text sizes, and actually FM starting point does that as well in the button bar that displays the the tabs that display the subtabs and the contacts or any of the other modules, then it uses one size for the number and a different size for the label. So the number stands out a little more. So lots
is that what we do with the like FMSP calculation where you see the numbers above the
right.
Got it. Okay. So
that's it's making use of these features to do that. So these do come in handy for formatting and for making things look a certain way and combining when you have a button or when you have a button bar, which is an easier way of putting some calculated value on the screen, you can't have different formatting for one part of the text versus another part of the text like you can with a text object. So what's handy about that is that this is a way that you can get around that and apply different formatting to different text within the button bar.
Yeah, because funnily enough, you answered the question without ever me asking it. JText Code asked, have you ever used these function styles in any project? I've never used them in real projects.
Yeah, so let me see if I have FM starting point.
Yeah, FM starting point would be a good one. I was going to go pull up the database I'm working on right now, but that's bad because it's customer data.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
I want to do that. But like you said, the logs, we have a huge set of logs, and like success and failure and beginning and ending are all highlighted in different colors.
Yeah,
And the
so you'll see
logs.
here these calculated values. Let's just say specify. So you'll notice here we're doing this. We have a let statement that generates this. The number is a count through the relationship. And here we're deciding the color. We want the color to be this gray. And then we want the size to be 22. And then we want the style, we want it to be plain. And the color, we're specifying we wanted this. We're using that RGB to make it gray. Now what does this look like when we actually use it? Say okay. Cancel, browse. So you'll notice the number 1 is blue while the text is gray. So we're applying that size 22 to the label, the note, and the number is getting the tab formatting. So the tab is formatting says it's however large this is. Which let's go ahead and just look at what that font size is. That should be right here. It's I guess 16. I guess the number is getting the 22 font size while the label is getting the standard 16 font size. If we look at the color here, though, you'll see the color is blue. So the number is getting the standard font color, but the label is getting that special gray color that we're applying to it. So this is a practical way that we're doing this. It makes that number stand out. And then what would this look like if we didn't do that? Now let's go ahead and just show what this would look like. Specify. And what we're going to do here is I'm just going to grab this and watch. So that's the calculation, but the number instead is going to be this. Let's throw that number in there. And then the text is going to be, I'm just going to put notes. Okay, so there's our label. And let me just disable this. Okay, and rename. You got to do that to make it work. Okay, browse. Now tell me, which one of these looks better? The notes or the contacts, estimates, invoices with the 2 colors. And what this is doing is it's drawing your eye to the number. So what's more important, knowing that this is context? We already know it's context. Context doesn't need to be notes doesn't need to be that big. It doesn't need to be the full 22 or whatever it is. But the number is standing out. That's really what we want to know about. That's what's going to change. No matter what record we're looking at, it's going to be at notes, contacts, estimates. So much nicer here. Another place we can see this is over here in the
audit log.
Audit log. So this didn't actually do anything. So sometimes, let's go ahead and do something that will cause audits to happen. Create a new thing, and I'm going to put the reorder level to 50 and the mountain stock at 100. And let's see what happened. That should create some audits. Okay, so you'll see here, we applied the color purple. So the purple stands out as manual adjustment of this product. Can I navigate to the product? If I go over here now, go back to our products and say, this is product. Really cool stuff. Now, if I go to invoices and do a new invoice and put this in as add a line, I want really cool stuff here. And now I'm going to commit from inventory. Now let's go look at what that audit log did. Audit log. So now we see our red, the commit from commit invoice is red. So it stands out a little more. Here's another one. And let me just show you here. Ooh, I might be wrong here. I thought we were, so I was wrong. This is done through conditional formatting.
To be fair, I've also done an audit log setup recently that does use the TextColor functions. You pick specific words to have specific colors.
Right, right. I was thinking that we did that. Maybe it's only when there's a script that does it, but it might only be when PSOS runs.
It might be
the usually it's in the where I was expecting it when we were looking at this was for the text to be in this area here.
Mm-hmm.
But so that might not have, that might only happen when we're on a server. So those are a couple different instances that are practical for using this. If we go over here to contacts, that was the third one that it came to mind. So say you want to send an email.
Mm-hmm.
Now watch this. Oh, is this not in here anymore? Now back in the old core, back in the day. Let's look at this. Let's see if we edit this. Does this have the options? Now back in the day, let me see. So back in the day, we used to have an option where you could highlight different things and click buttons and it would change the colors. Apparently we don't do that anymore.
Oh, with an older version of FMSP?
Yeah, or maybe it's in finished goods. I'm not sure.
It might be in finished goods, which is technically an older version of FMSP, but a lot more complicated.
So we can highlight this and apply. So this is an email that's going out to someone. Mm-hmm. We can select format and change the font. We'll do Courier New. And then we can change the color. But you can control all of this with buttons and scripts.
Instead of having to flip through the manual list of options. Yeah.
Right, instead of going through the manual list of options, because how many people will do that? But if you have a bunch of color buttons, then it's a little bit more obvious what your options are.
Someone also mentioned that these remove all functions are great on script triggers to clean up data on input.
Oh yeah, so that's one thing I did want to show before we go. My favorite use for these functions, because I actually don't add them at all. I'm usually not adding formatting, I'm removing it. So here, look at this. I will say text format remove self. You can paste this calculation into any field and it just works. Also make sure you remove the do not replace existing value, if any. So what this will do is it makes a field reference itself, and whenever you change it, somebody crazy person went in here and copied this from an email, and somehow it looks like, let's put a color on it too. It's pink. Put all this crazy formatting on here. As soon as they click out, it was removed. So that's my favorite use of the text formatting, is actually text format remove. That's my favorite one. And it gets your data so much cleaner. And you doing it in the calculation engine instead of a script trigger means that it will work no matter where. It's not limited to one layout. If you have that field on multiple layouts, it also isn't limited to it's not limited to one layout, and it is faster than a script trigger running on a layout.
Well, I'm going to go add that to CMS because I have a field that I have to constantly paste data off of websites into. I do the Command Z trick, but sometimes I overdo it and undo my stuff, and then I have to recopy it. So having it just automatically remove on exit would be much nicer.
Yeah, and usually, I mean, sometimes there's a field where you want some formatting. I know in our internal notes, we want the note. Sometimes the notes have formatting, and we're trying to highlight things. Text style, I want this one to be highlighted. So so you can add these to one field, maybe like a notes, but in the company and the account and the people's names and the addresses, you want all the formatting out. If you have formatting in the addresses and you try to print off a address sheet, it's going to mess it all up. If you try to look at a report, and you'll notice it often in the lists, you'll see like one of these addresses is messed up, or one of the emails just looks weird because the format's still applied from the email where the address was received.
We have one more question, and then I will release you into the ether. If you get as CSS on your object or any of the calcs, does it show you what's happening in the background?
And I know it will on the field itself, but the calculation, I'm not sure. Let's find out. So get as CSS, and I'm going to just do the text calc, evaluate. So here you'll say font family, Arial, italics. Okay. Let's go and say monitor that. So that's without the calculation. Now let's say text style add. So you'll notice there's nothing here that says bold. So let's just add bold. Evaluate. And so yes, it does. So we added the text format through the calculation. And when we said get as CSS, it came through as bold.
Interesting.
So yes, it does. All this stuff does get recognized by the get CSS as CSS.
Okay, cool.
Any more questions?
No, I don't see any. We've had quite a few today. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Thank you, Calvin. This has been awesome. Absolutely. And feel free to send me the sample file. I'll probably distribute it Monday. If I'm not Monday, it'll get attached to the actual YouTube video.
Okay, sounds good.
Definitely have a hangover, NJ. I guess I know it's funny. I just got called Mary, which is hilarious. Thank you, David. Thank you, NJ. Thank you, Ed, Fox, Jack, Kudidi, Jesse, Ken, Laba, Mike, everyone for coming. Seriously, have a good Friday. Have a good weekend. Thank you, Calvin.
Not a problem.
We will see you later. Bye.
Got a report of an individual up here who may be a FileMaker license. Well, it's potentially expired. Look at the back of that car right there. Looks like the FileMaker license has expired. Sir, I need you to step out of the vehicle. Sir, step out of the vehicle. Sir.